Hi everyone, this is just a brief video to go over everything that you kind of need to know ahead of time before you really dive into the HGSS or into creating this slide presentation. So the first thing you need to know is why are you doing this? And the main reason why you are doing the HGSS or why in your social studies classes they'll be working on these skills with you. Basically, at the 7th grade level, you guys should be able to state a claim with valid reasoning and evidence. And so this is a project that you guys will do, or this is a thing that you will work on throughout the year to make sure that by the time you leave 7th grade, you'll know how to do those things. And so to start us off, I wanted to show you guys the rubric. And a rubric is really just a guideline for you to know exactly how you're going to be scored on certain things, or just what you are supposed to be doing in general. It's a really good outline to basically just check to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I always look at it like almost a checklist, like here's what I'm supposed to be doing. And so if I know that I've done this, then I'm going to get this score. If I know I've done this, I'm going to get this score, and so on and so forth. So on your slide presentation down at the bottom, it says click here for the rubric, and that's what I did, and it will pull up a document that looks like this or similar to this. The first rubric you will see comes from the state because, again, this is something like across the state that you guys will need to be able to do. And I will say before like really diving into the rubrics, depending on the product or depending on the time of year, your teacher, your social studies teacher might have a slightly different rubric, or they might be grading for something else. Especially if you're just doing this or you're beginning, they might have like a modified rubric, or they might be looking for specific things that you're doing because they know those are the base skills that you need. So just really go off the rubric that they give you. But I thought it was a good idea to let you guys know that like at the end of the year or when you have to do your last like HGSS, this will be the rubric that is used to score you for the state. So anyway, this is what the state rubric looks like. I encourage you to look it over if you would like. And then the second page is a student rubric. This is something that you guys can look over, and it's more it's less wording and just more like this is what you need to do, because again, I look at rubrics like this is a checklist. If I do this, then I'm gonna score a 3 because that's what it says in that column for that area, whatever it is. So I'm also only for the purpose of this video and time gonna look at the exemplary column. This is what you guys want to be able to do by the end of the year. And so you're looking for a 4. And so we're just going to focus on this column. There's also 3 areas that they go through and say you need to know, or you need to do these things in these areas. So the first one is claim or thesis. So basically, are you able to restate and answer the question given? If you're able, like that's the area that they're looking for. So to get an exemplary, like, or a 4 score in this area, you guys should be able to restate and answer the question, and you need to give 3 relevant reasons. So what that means is 3 reasons that go specifically with your answer, that are on topic and that are just tied into what you're supposed to be talking about. So that's what relevant means, is basically on topic. And you'll hear me use that a lot. Evidence is the second area that you need to be able to do. This also could be looked at for the C part of race, and basically using information from sources that prove that your claim is correct. To get a 4 in this area and be exemplary, basically it says when citing text evidence, you've used 3 primary or secondary sources. They also need to be the most relevant, which means on topic. So they need to be the best sources that you could find to help prove your answer. And they also need to be reliable. Reliable basically means that you can trust them. And so if they are on topic and we'll go more over that as well when we get to that section. And if they are trustworthy and you've used 3 primary or secondary sources, then you will get a 4 in this area as long as things are cited correctly. And then the last area is reasoning. And we look at this as explaining your text evidence or your reasoning for why you chose that evidence to go with your answer. And to get a 4, you need to, or the explanation section needs to include 1, an explanation of the evidence. And a lot of times I will tell students this is when you paraphrase, or it will be referred to as paraphrase the evidence, and explain it to the reader. And then 2, it needs to be able to tie the evidence back to the answer for that paragraph or for whatever you are arguing. And then you also need to include a counter argument to get a 4 in this area. So if you can do all of these things, which honestly, this is simplified, and each one is its own thing. But if you can do all of these, then you will get a 4 in each area, and you will be right where we want you at the end of 7th grade. Okay, back to the slides. The first thing I want to tell you about the slides themselves, or how to navigate the slides. This is the introduction slide. Make sure that you include a title. You put your first and last name on this slide, and you can include any relevant, which again means on topic, pictures or graphics. So kind of make it your own, because it is going to be a presentation. And that is something that I will tell you for like every slide. Make it your own, make it creative, add some relevant pictures and graphics on it, because you are going to be presenting this information. However, I would do what I call the meat and potatoes first. So put all of the information you need to on the slide before you go and then make it cute or make it aesthetically pleasing, because what you're really being graded on, or what we're really looking at, is the actual information, what you've written on the slide. Okay. So that being said, just make sure you fill this out. And then on each slide, there are instructions that are included with a video. And so I will tell you, you need to watch the video on each slide and then pause as needed. You can literally watch the video and pause it for each single thing. And it's super easy if you do it that way. Each slide also has this set of instructions, but it basically says when you are finished, you can delete the information provided. So you can delete all the instructions on the slide. You can delete everything that we have provided for you to help you with your writing. And all that should really be left is what you've typed. And then you can also, like I said, make it your own, add pictures that go and are relevant to your reasoning and evidence. And it's on every single slide like that. So just make sure you're following that. The last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I wanted to do this at the beginning, before you guys really got started, is the Works Cited page. The reason being is every time you get a source, whether you're at the beginning or you're on your 3rd source, you're going to need to use this page. So I wanted to go over a few things with you guys. Sometimes sources will be provided for you, depending on what's going on or the topic. You might get sources. But other times, and more times than not, you will be asked to find your own source. So what I did was we included a checklist that is really easy to use and to go through. So always ask yourself these 5 questions when you're looking at a source to see if they're credible or not. So the first thing that you always look at, is the author of the source an expert? I'm switching slides here for a second. What this means, if I'm saying the author of the source is an expert, it means that they have education or experience in that area, or they've done extensive research. So basically, we look for, like, what do they have a degree in, or what are they, like, what is their education base in, or have do they have a lot of experience in that specific area? We can also call a source credible if we know that they have done extensive research. Maybe they haven't had a lot of experience in the area, or they don't have that specific educational background. But if we know that they've done their homework and that they've gone and found like other credible sources, they've done extensive research on this topic, then we can trust them. The second thing is the information up to date? So we always say within the last 10 years, but the more recent, the better. Number 3 is, what is the purpose of the source? Is it to inform and not to sell? So if you found a source that's great, but they are definitely trying to sway you one way of thinking versus another, you might want to find a different source. And then number 4 is, are there many facts and details rather than opinions? You don't want to find a source where you only use one quote. There's only one piece of evidence that you can really use, because you might need to use information or evidence from that source later. So look for a lot of facts and less opinions. And then the last one is, does the domain end with one of the following? .edu is educational organizations, .gov is government, and then .org is respected organizations. Basically, by having this ending, we know that these sources are fact-checked. And we also know that they're put out by institutions and organizations that want to be credible, and so they aren't going to put out false information. So if you ask yourself these 5 questions, hopefully your source has 3 or 4 or 5 of these, then you can trust the source and call it relevant and reliable. Okay, after you have found your sources that go with your specific reasoning and with your specific answer, you need to add your citations into your Works Cited page. So the way that you can do this is by using mybib.com, and it's linked on this slide. And it will take you to this. Basically, what you're going to do is you are going to add a citation, or you're going to click the green button, and then there's many different options. Most of you guys will probably find websites, at least like while doing this HGSS. But if you were citing a book, you could use that, a journal, a video, and then there's also more options, so you can find out what you need. But let's just stick with website for right now, because it's very similar for the others as well. Once you have a website, you're basically going to copy and paste that website into this bar. So you can just select the URL at the top, which I'll show you. So you will come up here and you will select the URL, and you will Control-C or copy it, and you will paste it here, and then you're going to search for it. MyBib basically does 2 things that are really cool. One, it gives you the citation, so you get to check that out. The second thing is that it will actually it will show you if it's credible or it's not. So it'll say credible. It could say probably credible if it wasn't unsure, or if maybe it had some of the things that would make it credible but not others. Or it could say proceed with caution. So what you're going to do is you are going to just check it out and then save it, and then it gives you this citation. So what you're going to do is just copy and paste it into your Works Cited page. And you're going to do that for all 3 of your sources. Hopefully this video was helpful. My last helpful hint to you is just make sure you go through each slide carefully, and you read everything that you're supposed to, and you do everything as directed in the videos. Please watch all of the videos that are included in this, because if you do that, it's going to give you step-by-step, a step-by-step tutorial walking you through exactly what you need to do. Please raise your hand or ask your teacher if you need any help. And as always, good luck.